feel like I was in a car accident.
About right. Yeah.
I don't know how well jiu-jitsu mixes with bodybuilding.
I mean, it's not the worst, but it's probably not super. I mean, a little cardio, I guess. Broken arms don't go super well with the sport, but
I hear it encourages T-ball use, which isn't very good for bodybuilding.
Yeah, dude. Paul, how much experience do you have with bodybuilding with jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, you can always pick up pickleball.
I'm like the world's longest tenured blue belt. Because I never can stay consistent enough to actually graduate to purple belt, but I've been doing jiu-jitsu off and on since like 1999. Long fucking
what? Since 99.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go for a year and then I'll bail out and not go forever, and then I'll go back. I had like a consistent like 4-year run, and then COVID happened, and I was just like, I'm out here. And then I got serious about the bodybuilding stuff. I wanted to chase the bodybuilding thing, and I was like, man, jiu-jitsu is not congruent with bodybuilding. So
yeah, they're both kind of they're both one hobby sports, you know. Like bodybuilding, it's tough to have multiple hobbies when you're a bodybuilder, between cardio and meal prep and eating and lifting. And I imagine jiu-jitsu is pretty similar. Just, you know, a lot of work involved.
Yeah, you don't get good at it unless you're consistent with it. That's the thing, and it's a lot of drilling. And I mean, I'm like a 2 or 3 day kind of week. I'm a hobbyist. I would say, like, if you want to get good at it, you got to go to class 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say some of the hours that they say when you see the hours, they'll say like a certain black belt has. I don't know how they calculate it or estimate it, but the number of hours when you break it down, it's like holy shit, they've lived in the gym for the last decade. So I mean, the hours those guys put into it, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, well, it depends on the academy, but like I go to a Gracie style school, but I mean, it's 12 to 15 years to get a black belt.
Yeah.
Something like that. But they have, it's sort of like a minimum requirement. I don't know, the academy I go to now, I don't think they do it, but the Gracie academies, it's 500 classes between belts before you're even eligible for a belt promotion.
Jeez,
yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's an intense sport and it's extremely precise.
Yeah, and that's just the minimum. So like 500 hours is, or 500 classes. So how many hours is that? I mean, probably most classes are 90 minutes, 2 hours long. So, there's 1,000 hours of work before you're even eligible to test for a belt.
Yeah, I think I saw something. It was something like maybe 5,000 hours. Someone estimated was the average. But if you break that down, that's like an hour and a half a day, 7 days a week for 12 years or something crazy. It's one of those numbers that doesn't sound that. When people say you need to put 10,000 hours to get to become an expert in something, I always hear that. But then if you ever count how many hours 10,000 is, it's like, well, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
You ever see that movie Knockaround Guys? Vin Diesel's character when he's about to get in that bar fight.
500 fights.
Oh yeah, he was a kid.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu, man. You got to serve a lot of time in jiu-jitsu. I mean, in bodybuilding, you got to put a lot of hours in bodybuilding to get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
True.
for sure.
True.
Yeah, there's definitely some parallels in the two sports, but how you prepare for them, how you're going to have to recover is very, contradicting of each other. We have a jiu-jitsu gym right next to my gym I train at. So a lot of the guys kind of bounce back and forth, and it's amazing when they, how injury prone they can be from lifting too much, trying to go back to jiu-jitsu and then back and forth, or, you fall out of the stretching and the mobility of the jiu-jitsu, for a little while. When you lift, you get tighter. It's interesting, but I do see it a lot. We'll have some clients
I forget who it was.
Never works out right.
Somebody in my comment section the other day said that bodybuilding, you get an injury every 6 months. Jiu-jitsu, you get one every 6th class.
It's very true.
It's not inaccurate. I was surprised to see
you get your arm broken in an arm bar. Bodybuilding, you break your ankle falling off a stage, guest posing. They're very similar.
Everybody in jiu-jitsu has had at least one shoulder surgery. It's funny, like guys were beating me up.
Yeah, why are you going back to jiu-jitsu? Because you got a new shoulder? Now you're like, I'm going to break this one.
Let's test this thing out.
Everybody was giving me shit in the comments this week about like my high volume. Well, I don't even really think my training's that high volume, but my style of training, wear and tear is what fucked my shoulder up. I'm like, no, actually,
No.
I fucked it up. I fucked it up in jiu-jitsu, and I just ignored it for 5 years, and then it finally came to a head. I couldn't ignore it any longer.
Nah, I'm proof positive that's not accurate. That's 100% not accurate. I actually got better by doing the high volume training. So I at 54. Sorry. No.
If it were wear and tear, my right shoulder would be fucked up. My right shoulder's
Right.
perfectly fine.
I mean, they do know you're older than Star Wars, right? So it's like,
I'm so old. I saw Star Wars in the theater.
Did you? You probably. I mean, I guess you could have. I saw
like-
E.T. in the theaters, and that was like 5
he's
years
literally older
later.
than Star Wars. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I think it was
Star Wars
5.
77, I think.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
right?
27. My grandfather
Or-
took me to see it. I was 6. I was 6 years old.
Yeah, but that was back in the day
77,
when
81,
movies
83 were the original.
movies stayed in the theaters for a couple of years back then. I remember
Oh, man,
I
yeah.
distinctly-
Damn.
yeah. Well, there was no VHS, man. There was
Oh,
there was
damn.
nothing.
Yeah.
They had to make those
Uh,
legal first.
I remember my parents. I distinctly remember them taking me to see Star Wars in the theater. That was like one of my earliest memories. I don't know. I was like 4, I think. It was before, I wasn't in school yet.
That's cool.
I'm a little older than you. I was, I think, 6 or 7 when we went and saw it, and that it's definitely something you remember. I know that the second time I watched it, I had to adjust the tracking on the VHS so to get rid of the little squiggly lines.
Oh, yeah. Good old days. Smack the antenna.
Yeah, I was that old. I also had the terrible experience of my parents not researching movies, and they took me to see Star Wars at age 7 or whatever. Then Alien came out. They did not research that movie. They thought Alien was another sci-fi fun flick, and they took me, even though it was rated R.
I had the same experience. My dad took me to see Alien, and I was like,
it was
"What the fuck?" I had nightmares for like a week after that shit.
It was horrible. Like I didn't make it through the movie. We had to leave.
That's funny.
7-year-olds like watching that.
One at like 4 years old.
When you're 7 and you watch that thing burst out, it was like, it was not a good scene. It was not good.
No. It's like The Exorcist. It's still scary. It's still pretty scary today. That film.
Oh
Alien,
man, I've got an
over
Exorcist
time.
story.
Yeah.
Like I snuck out when cable first started. I was probably like 9 or 10, and I snuck downstairs. My parents had told me explicitly, "Do not watch this movie. Do not watch it." Like we were raised Catholic, so I already had all the preconceived things in my head. I was primed. I snuck downstairs, and of course, I'm not supposed to be there. So it's like when things got really hairy, it's not like I could go to my parents and be like, "Oh, I'm scared." It was horrible. That was bad.
This is kind of random, but it's kind of a fun share. But near our house, about a half hour away, they still have the drive-throughs in like a cornfield, and they have like a bunch of theaters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But they have one section. They'll do older films. So they'll do Star Wars. They'll do like the old horror films. So it's kind of like a blast from the past. Everything feels, like the concession stands, like it's in the 70s. That's kind of fun to go up. But I've never actually.
Oh, the
had
mosquitoes.
Star Wars there.
We got one we have a drive-in in Michigan. We went once to some kids movie, and it was, I don't think you couldn't see the screen. It was like a fog of mosquitoes. It was terrible. Everyone ended up just like rolling their windows up and hiding in the car. They still got in the car. It's like July, August, mid-Michigan, right next to a swamp. Oh God.
Well,
I remember
I'll have to post a picture, but one of my old trucks, I had a stainless steel dump insert in the back of my personal truck I would drive. So we would just hose it out, and I had an old futon mattress, and it would go, and it'd be high enough that I had my own walls. I had my own private little spot, and we'd just make a bed and watch the TV, and it was beautiful. It worked out.
That's
cool.
exactly what we did when I was growing up. I remember that was my first experience seeing Indiana Jones. My redneck dad driving us to the drive-in theater, and we backed the pickup truck in and had a mattress in the back of it and laid in there and watched Indiana Jones at the drive-in.
I think
Even when my kids were little, that was like a cheap date night with them. It's just to throw a mattress in the back of the truck and take them to the drive-through with or drive-in with a pizza and watch whatever movie was out.
That's the back of the truck stuff doesn't happen anymore as like it used to. When I was a kid, we used to surf in the back. I remember going to Detroit Pistons games, driving down to Detroit. Me and my buddy would be, total. We had my dad had like little like deck chair type things bolted in the back. Even everyone did, like in a small town. You know, you go to a Little League game, and after the game, you go to the ice cream stand, and everyone jump in the back of someone's truck. But you never see that anymore, ever.
Oh, yeah.
Fun
I
fact:
think about-
Oregon is still legal to ride in the back of a truck without any.
Where?
In Oregon, it's still
Oh,
legal to ride in the back of a truck.
Good old days.
I think about the shit I did when I was a kid. It's like, how the fuck am I alive, man?
Oh,
Like
man.
riding in the back of the pickup truck. I was riding a 250cc 2-stroke dirt bike when I was 12 years old.
You can tolerate some pain as a kid.
No helmet.
The pain tolerance you have as a kid when you're afraid you're going to get in trouble is like shockingly high.
Oh, I remember
my buddy
wiping
had a
out.
little 4-wheeler that we were driving around the neighborhood before school, before the bus came, and something was on the side or something. So he tilted his head like that, and we drifted to the side, probably going, I mean, not flying, but at least 20, 25 miles an hour into a mailbox, head level for both of us. Ripped his helmet off, sliced his neck all the way up to the front, knocked me back off. I'm laying on the ground. Luckily, I got hit by his soft body. He got hit by me and the mailbox, ripped his neck all off. Made up some excuse, he goes to school with a bleeding neck, and it's like, as a kid, your fear of getting in trouble is so much worse than the pain. You can tolerate anything.
I had the same experience, man. I got in a bad motorcycle accident when I was like 12, 13. I don't remember what it was. I fucked myself up bad, and I remember hobbling back home and I didn't want to tell my mom what happened because I knew she would never let me ride a motorcycle again. It's like, oh, me and my friends were playing backyard football. And then she was like, never. Then she was like, you're not playing football again.
That's why I got into medicine. I had 2 brothers, and I grew up in a mountain town, and I was like the group medic. Like if ever anybody was hurt, they would bring them to me. Like you know how many times, like in the middle of the night, like I would be awoken by like I'd hear the voice like, "Is she awake?" And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And that'd be one of their buddies who had like crashed a dirt bike or like had some big accident. It was just like road rashed and like bloody. And yeah, it was always, I was the one who's patching.
That's like those mob movies.
Yeah.
Where they call some doctor at home in the middle of the night and make him fix him up in secret.
Keep it off the record.
You got to put Field Medic on your list of acronyms after your name.
Field Medic.
Like Mountain Medic.
What's up, Kurt?
What's up?
What's up, Kurt? I was just going to quickly.
You got to turn the heat on in your basement. You look like you're in the Arctic.
I just came in from outside.
I was going to ask, did your parents ever make you, I swear it's like a thing my dad must have done with his parents, but did they ever make you write what you did wrong like 1,000 times? Like, I will not play with matches.
No,
I had to write. I used to have to write notes and give them to neighbors, and like if I did something, threw a snowball at someone, and have to like go and give it to the parents, my apology note. Oh God, that's the only reason I was a good kid. That was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. That's what my dad would do, because a spanking wasn't, after a certain while, it wasn't effective.
Yeah, I'll take
He'd
that
make
over.
me write things, but then I started kind of figuring out how to do it quick. Instead of writing a sentence, I would just put the letter all the way down the page, the next letter all the way
And
down.
then when you get a T, it's just a straight line. You get T. Dot, 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 dot.
This is why we didn't have cry rooms in our universities.
Yeah.
My dad's punishment for everything was forced labor. It's like, all right, you did something. You're splitting rocks. You're splitting logs. You're stacking hay. It was. It's like
You can usually tell that by if someone knows how much work moving like topsoil is. If someone's like, I got to move 9 yards of topsoil this weekend, and someone just looks at you like, oh, have a good weekend, and you're like, yeah, you had a good dad. Someone was like, oh my God, 9 yards. Dude, that's like 36 hours of fucking wheelbarrows. Good luck.
I wonder why my shoulders all fucked up. I swung the axe so many times when I was a kid and pitched so many hay bales, stacked wood. That was my dad's punishment for everything.
Smart.
Now we got Kurt on here. I wanted to let's bring it down and go something a little more morbid. But there was a study I saw shared on social media. It was in the European Heart Journal about mortality in bodybuilding, where they did a study of about 20,000 professional bodybuilders, I think over a 20-year period of time. And they had mortality rates. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I mean, we have some pretty strong clues on what kills bodybuilders. I mean, I think we know that. But I'm
121 over 20 years.
it was
121 deaths.
it was 121 deaths in professional bodybuilding over
8 years.
Yeah, it's interesting too because they actually looked at specifically IFBB.
Yeah, they looked at the IFBB.
Yeah.
Yeah, 121 deaths. It was a pool of 20,286 male bodybuilders that were found. The number one cause was acute cardiovascular death, which is not a surprise, right?
Right.
No.
And you can see here, and you can see there was almost nobody that died under 24. I think there was one death. And then, obviously over 40 is where the deaths started happening. But I'm honestly surprised it wasn't more than 121 through the whole.
How many years was
It
it?
says 8. It
8?
says 8 years.
I thought it was like 15. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I probably would have thought it would be higher too, but that is still high. It's not low. We're not talking about 88-year-olds.
No,
True.
Yeah, and it was 45% of them were acute cardiovascular events. Now they included overdose and acute cardiovascular events. I don't know about that. Oh, yeah, I think a recreational drugs.
right, like a rich piano.
There's a correlation
there and
between
murder,
age.
so I don't know. Is there a comparison here? I scanned through it, but I didn't see a comparison versus like the regular population. Like
It was the cardiovascular events were about 10 times the normal normal cardiovascular events in those age groups.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it stands to reason, of course, like you said, once we get older, once we get past 40, I mean, I assume, mortality risk goes up as you age. So that
There
scales.
was suicide. COVID was 6%.
That's surprising. That's
I'm
a lot.
surprised kidney was that low. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the kidney stuff ends up in heart failure and some cardiac related thing, but I'm a little surprised kidney was only 4%.
It's also kidney's like a long-term thing, man. So I wonder.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Anyone that had complete renal failure.
They probably retired from bodybuilding and died a slow, miserable death.
I thought the murder suicide being roughly equal to kidney is really what was surprising, or is surprising. I think
That's trend.
Yeah,
That's the trend right there.
I mean, the majority of these didn't have autopsy, but they said the ones that did have autopsy, they all had some sort of cardiac enlargement.
Mhm.
I would say, the lesson that we can take from this, and this is something that we know that, and I just preach this over and over and over again to guys, that managing your cardiovascular health is probably the single most important thing that you can do if you're going to take PEDs.
Yeah.
Don't smoke.
Yeah.
Don't smoke.
Don't use recreational drugs. Be careful with it. Like, be really careful with that. Alcohol. I am sure alcohol is horrible. So, alcohol and the stress that adds to the body, then we add PEDs. I mean, it just makes sense. Kurt, if I recall correctly, are you a person with one kidney? Is that correct?
I am, yeah. Unilateral renal agenesis.
Okay, I am too.
Hello.
Yeah, I am too. So I'm like extremely hyper aware of that and of the numbers and the risk and the idea of what it is that we do. Which I don't understand, like guys who go like all in, all out, and then everything really, that load that your body, that strain that your body has to be put through.
What was interesting is the men's open bodybuilding had 5 times the amount of cardiovascular events as classic.
Yep.
And we all know the classic guys use just as much gear.
It's probably a function of weight, right? The bigger you are.
Weight, yeah. And also,
that's a correlation there too.
So weight
it
size
is a newer
versus heart
sport
capacity.
also.
Sorry, Justin, what did you say?
Well, it's a newer sport. I mean, I don't know. That's not like a direct, correlation, but it's with bodybuilding, you're going to have a lot of guys who've been, blasting gear specifically to be the largest bodybuilder possible for 25 years or more. 25 years ago, classic wasn't a thing. It's not that those guys weren't lifting or anything, but I would guess that probably played some level of role.
Yeah, and I pulled the stats on it. Where was it? 22% of the deaths occurred within several months of competition. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you
the strain of contest prep. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it just shows you how hard contest prep is on your body. I mean, look, we anecdotally we've seen it. Like a lot of the guys that have dropped going into shows.
A lot of females, it seems like, around shows the last 5 years. It seems like almost. It seems like maybe I just notice it more with the female name, but it seems like right after a show that's been really common with females the last couple of years.
Well, it seems like diuretic use
and
electrolyte imbalances with females.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, because what you over diurese a 260-pound Mr. Olympia competitor, he looks like absolute shit. So like it ruins everything. You're less likely to do that. With the smaller females, they have less muscle mass, less fullness to worry about, and so as a coach, it's a lot easier to just throw diuretics at the problem and know they're going to be dry, and there's less risk of them looking worse because of it. And I think you get that a lot. I mean, I definitely, from the numbers I see from new clients, it seems like coaches are pushing diuretics harder with the female bodybuilders, or female in all divisions, than with the men.
Well, I mean, I think that's a lot of that is that the standard for women has become so much more intense than it used to be. I mean, if you look at, the first Miss Olympia versus a bikini competitor at the Olympia level now, the conditioning of the bikini competitor nowadays is leaner. The muscle mass may be different, but the actual level of conditioning is leaner. So that push, it's like, I think it's just a little bit more.
And they're getting, I mean, obviously both parties are manipulating hormones, but a hormonally normalized male in the wild is going to be something like 8 to 12% body fat, or a normal woman is going to be almost twice that, so they're going twice as deep past, a healthy body fat range to get to that level also.
I think it's fair to say on average, a lot of these female preps are usually a little bit longer in duration too. So they get a longer exposure over time.
Yeah. Less metabolism, less wiggle room. A guy I can put, with Paul's metabolism, once we get him eating and we have him at 5,500 calories or something, I can drop him to 4,500 calories. He's a 1,000 calorie deficit and still eating 4,500 calories. Amy, what would you have to eat, not counting cardio or training, from just your BMR? What would you have to eat to be in a 1,000 calorie deficit? Not 4,500 calories, I'm guessing.
No. No, and I think the new system too is going to potentially change that as well for women, because it may keep women competing more often during the season to try and get either those 2 wins or stack up enough points. So we could see this being pushed even further, so utilizing drugs for longer during preps to continue to maintain a level of leanness that, as you said, Justin, is so much more extreme for a woman potentially than it is for a man, for even longer over the course of a year, just to get those points that they need.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that exposure, right? Like constant strain on the body, when you're that low. I've only done this one time, and I can tell you, like, the feeling by the end of prep versus when you start coming out of it is astoundingly different. And
it's not just it's not just the diuretics either, because you have the diuretics cause things like elevated blood sugar for a period of time due to the dehydration after the show, at a time when you're eating the most, so it's, it extends. It's not like the show's over, good, I made it, I survived. Now I got 4 weeks where I'm probably technically a diabetic. I'm dealing with all these water overload issues that now my circulatory system has to deal with. And,
You know what? I found something interesting this year. Speaking specifically about women and longer term drug use you don't see it as much at the pro and the national level, but I'm starting to see it more at the local level, that there are a lot more viralization and a lot more obvious drug use in these entry level competitions. Like, I feel like I see it far more, like at the show I just did last week. There were some bikini competitors who were very viralized at a local show. Like, what are you doing here? You don't even have, they don't even have a pro card yet. So it's like they've got so much accumulated time of use by the point that they even make it to a national show. That just, again, like that duration of use is just going to compound and compound and compound, and then to like what end?
And the internet helps a lot where, now they can find credible people to listen to and work with, but it's much more likely that they're working with someone from their local gym who should not be handling male hormone use by females in any scenario, but certainly not here, so it's like, it just gets compounded.
I also have to wonder if that 5 milligram Anavar that you take is really 5 milligrams or if it's even Anavar.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I mean, if you're taking Primo, is it even? I mean, is it anything at all? Like,
It's
I don't
true.
know. I'm surprised that women are trusting any.
What if
Trust them.
instead of Primo, you're taking Test as a
I
woman?
mean, well, that happens.
Yeah.
And
That
then you're
certainly happens.
done. And the other thing is it, as the sport grows and more competitors come online, it becomes more competitive. Is the ante being upped, year after year, season after season? People become more competitive, and then they start thinking, well, I need that edge, right? So I need to push further, push harder. I could see that mental
Well, it just
setup.
shows, like it to me, I look at it as, what this shows me, especially as a woman, is that the genetically elite, like those women who are at that Olympia level, yeah, they can use less and handle it better. Whereas the people, like I saw at this local level show, who were clearly pushing a lot of substances, they don't have that. Like you're never going to have that genetic gift.
And that's
pushing it.
That's a very hard thing about this sport, because we feel like we don't, but we feel like we get to bypass a lot of the genetics because PEDs. So we feel like it's different than other sports. Yeah, I love basketball, but I was never going to make the NBA because I'm not 6'8". But in this sport, I have this hack, and that's how people view it. But the truth is, and I would never, this isn't like a 100%, and so I would never tell someone not to chase their dreams. But typically, if you want to be a competitive IFBB pro, meaning you step on stage, maybe even look to win a small level pro show. I'm not talking the big guys, the big, top 5 of Mr. Olympia, it's a whole different world. But this level where if you need to do that to win a state show, it's not happening. I mean, it's really the guys, even at the low level, the guys placing top 3 at the California, that they most likely walked through their state show on their way to the national, a national show pro qualifier on baby doses without knowing anything. The genetic aspect is just, it's not different. You go to a big time travel baseball team, 15U, 16U, something like that. You see the difference. Those guys are throwing 96 miles an hour, hitting 450, foot balls. It's no different. Those guys in our sport would also be taking PEDs. You don't get, and so I wouldn't tell anyone not to chase their dreams, but if you're using 3 grams of stuff and hoping to qualify for a pro qualifier, like I said, I won't tell you not to chase your dreams, but, take some time to assess where you're at with things and what your potential is.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Having a realistic assessment of what you can and can't do. And sometimes that's brutal. It's a brutal fact that people don't want to face. They want to get to that next level. I get that. I understand the whole competitiveness. But at the same, balance that with you have to risk mitigate. You only get one life, one body. You got to take care of it.
Yeah, that goes back to the whole thing with this study that we saw. And I wanted to ask you, Kurt, we know it's pretty well established that cardiovascular risk is the biggest thing. I mean, what is some of the stupid shit that you see guys do that increase cardiovascular risk?
Stimulants with highly androgenic compounds. So using Clen and Tren together, Halo, Clen, right, is going to put stress on there. Blood volume too high constantly, right? Red blood cell count on its own isn't necessarily a risk, but if it's super high all the time, it's going to put stress on the heart. Getting too big,
vasoconstriction and a rapid heart rate on top of it,
Yeah, and then just getting just generally too big in the off season, right? Not doing cardio. Just generally not taking care of yourself. I mean, I see horrible blood work sometimes in tiny guys too. It's probably more of a function of just not taking care of yourself. And you see some, Paul and I talked to a lot of the same open pros, and I see great blood work in most of those guys. Again, that's probably genetic though, right? I see the worst side effects in the guys with the least ability to go far in bodybuilding, and the guys that have like Amy was saying, the people with the best genetics seem to also not get those side effects.
Yeah.
You know,
I see too. There's also sort of this bro mentality that you need to eat high fat foods and dump salt all over everything too, and exacerbating lipids and high blood pressure.
Yeah. And
What's the deal with I was going to ask, what's the deal with that? It seems logical that the morning fasted cardio piece is something, it's a very easy practice that I don't understand why somebody would not want to do that, especially when you get bigger. The bigger you get.
I feel assaulted right now.
Well,
sorry.
I just want to back
like
up.
my wife will tell you, I'm religious about it. I will wake up in the morning and just do it just to get it done, just because I want to live.
I'm on
anyway.
400.
From a metabolic point of view, though, and from a fat loss point of view, doing it fasted is not necessarily better than just doing cardio. Like I get it, and I do fasted cardio.
Well,
the only time I do it, the substrate used doesn't necessarily dictate the substrate lost, right?
but if you do fasted cardio with a blood sugar of 70, you have about 5 grams of sugar in your body. If you do cardio after eating with a blood sugar of 100, you have 6. That's 4 calories. I'm kidding.
No, my point is, like, if you're looking from a pure health point of view, does it make a difference if you're fasted or not?
It doesn't make a difference, period. Yeah, it just, yeah.
When I'm on
It's a
stage,
good compliance and discipline trader.
and it's not necessarily heavy fasted. I just have to do it fasted because the only time I'm going to get it done in my life is if I wake up in the morning and do it, because I can't do it in the middle of the day. Right.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why most people don't do it, because people sabotage themselves. We have this weird thing in this sport where all the things that make you a better bodybuilder, people don't want to do. The first thing anyone wanting to get huge does after a contest or in the off season is drop cardio, and they don't want to do cardio because they think they'll lose leg size or not grow. And the exact opposite is the truth. And which is why, I mean, go watch Kai Green do the step mill before every workout with his fucking thunder thighs, trying to not start a fire as they rub together on that step mill. In the middle of the off season at 300 pounds, every single workout, this guy is doing the step mill with his 48-inch quads. But every new guy, that's trying to get big insists that if they take more than 3 steps in a day, they're just going to shrivel up and lose all their size. But the opposite is true, and you'll live longer. But
when from a cardiovascular point of view with cardio too, just going for a leisurely walk, while it's good for your health, is not necessarily going to get your cardiovascular system in shape.
Yeah,
like, I think guys are too leisure with their cardio.
Well, I mean,
progressively overload your cardio. Yeah. And I think Josh nailed it too, Gonzo. If you think about it, it's really, it can be as simple as just like the athlete's adherence. I mean, it just might not be appealing for them to do it in the morning when they're tired. It's the last thing everybody wants to do. But once you build a routine of it, like myself, I go crazy if I don't get up early and start my day with the peace and quiet and a walk,
It's like anything else in life. If you want the best future outcome, it almost always comes from doing the thing you don't necessarily want to do in this moment. You don't want to do cardio, but you do it, you'll feel better the rest of the day. You'll be healthy, you'll live longer, you'll look better. But you don't want to do it in the moment. I don't want to go to work, but if I don't, I can't pay my bills. That's everything in life. Do the thing you don't necessarily want to do right now because it's going to produce a better future.
Yeah, do the hard things.
Yep. Yeah, I do love also in the walking, the dopamine reset that you get. There's that too. Like if you do the walk in silence and being in the moment, that dopamine reset in your brain, that's powerful stuff. Like I never realized it until I started doing it. That will change your mood and enhance your mood, and then you're more likely to make the right choices that then follow right. One thing, it's like a chain of events, and then you can improve your health outcomes.
I'm not sure if this is a Kurt or a Justin question, but there's an increase in insulin sensitivity from fasted cardio. How does that work? What's the mechanism behind that?
Well, I think you get it from all cardio. I mean, I think there's some acute blood sugar correlation to what level of sensitivity, but you're going to get it from all cardio. For me personally, I like fasted cardio. I mean, the truth is that there's most people have six liters of blood. So if you have 100 nanograms per milliliter blood sugar, you have 6 grams of sugar in your entire body. That's all. There's not very much. So by the time you're hypo, you're at like 4.5 or 5 grams of sugar. So you only have about 1 gram of sugar in your entire body blood change. So like that aspect is really non-existent. But if you do cardio first thing in the morning, it delays that first meal longer. It kind of kickstarts the day. I think NEAT ends up being higher for people who do cardio in the morning. They just seem to be more active earlier in the day. Then also when you're dieting, the worst part for hunger is always later in the day. So I like the idea if I can push that first meal, maybe an hour or whatever later into the day, it really, that's another added benefit that I think is for me personally is probably the main benefit of morning cardio.
Yeah, good point.
I don't know. My starter pack for guys that like I have all my guys keep eyes on some basic health markers when I'm working with them, and to try to keep them safe from the cardiovascular risk. Like I just keep your lipids in check, keep your blood pressure in check, keep your blood sugar under control, and like some easy steps to mitigate that. Like the cardio you guys mentioned, you don't need to eat ribeyes with sea salt all over them all day long. Keep your estrogen under control. Like I don't understand this thing now. Everybody wants to blow their estrogen through the roof and get their blood pressure super high.
The internet has decided that low cholesterol isn't that great, so therefore the only other answer is estrogen has to be as high as possible. So it's all we ever do. A isn't optimal anymore. Therefore, B has to be as far from A as possible.
Well, the sodium thing too is a weird one to me. Like, there's an appropriate amount of sodium, and the more you're sweating, you're going to need more. You're sitting around, you're not doing anything, you need less. And if you're, some people like for me, there is definitely a direct correlation with me, like with sodium intake and my blood pressure. I can see it.
Mm-hmm. And more specifically, changing sodium intake. I think the most important thing with sodium is consistency. Your body will adjust to pretty high amounts of sodium if you have that same amount every day. So for me, more than the specific number, I like a little higher sodium. I like 6 to 8 grams for most people.
Yeah, that's probably about what I do.
Yeah, but more importantly, that you stay in that. I don't want 4 grams today and 10 grams tomorrow. That's going to throw everything off.
Yeah, that's something
I got. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say that's something I just adjusted this beginning of this off season. I measure my salt, accurately with a 1/8 teaspoon, and I put the amount I need in. But the problem with kind of the way I get my diet is macro is I've not always eaten the exact same thing. 70% of the time it's the same stuff, but I might do something I don't throw salt on. So I started actually just taking a cup and weighing out, all right, here's the amount of salt I need. And I just finished that little cup by the end of the day. And that's been super simple little trick to keep me consistent. So that way I'm not being accurate on all my meals, but one meal is not going to have salt today. Tomorrow it's going to have, and vice versa. So you're definitely right. And I've noticed that my weight's fluctuated less. My look stays a little bit more consistent as I'm kind of growing right now.
That's what you said, the change too. You'll see that a lot of people who don't maybe not know exactly what they're doing with peaking. And you'll see a lot of guys that, they're eating, meat, rice, and their clients probably adding seasoning like crazy, because when you're hungry, you're always seasoning your food harder. And then they go into the carb up. And as soon as you switch to carbs, you're already probably at a lower, the meat's generally what gets the most seasoning. Rice gets seasoning and stuff, but potatoes not quite as much. And then also potatoes are very high in potassium, and then oatmeal again. So you'll have a lot of people, they're at a certain sodium level, then they go to carb up. They switch to like oatmeal potatoes. Their sodium, percentage drops dramatically, and it's great. They're carbing up and drying out. The problem is you need the sodium to store glycogen. So they get to 36 hours out of the show. Maybe they start switching sources a little bit, and lower carbs a little bit, increase the fats, and now their sodium spikes up again. And all of a sudden, the sodium levels here all prep, drops down when I carb up, and then when I'm hoping to dry out and step on stage, I spike sodium again. So that's where the consistency comes in, and you need to know what you're taking every day, because like Dave said, you switch meal sort. If I go 6 meals of steak and rice, and then tomorrow I do 6 meals of protein shakes and oatmeal, very different sodium intake.
Yeah. That ability to be repetitive and to be consistent and boring actually is like a superpower for bodybuilders, because then you can always predict. You can always predict if it's always this, I can expect this outcome. And then I'm not changing variables constantly. I learned that during this prep, by the way, Paul. You taught me that. It worked really well. Really well.
Tanya brought up the potassium thing too. That was a trick that Dean St. Mart told me, is to use the light salt. It already has the appropriate ratios of potassium and sodium in it. It's 3 to 2, I think. I don't recall, but somewhere in in that
Yeah,
range.
that's less likely to occur. But one thing to be careful of is a lot of the stuff we do with, the stuff we take, the telmisartan and the ARBs
Yeah,
and the
as some retention.
yeah, will increase potassium levels, and then if you get any level of reduced kidney function, it's going to do the same thing. And then, like, going back to what I just said again, if you're at a certain potassium level and you're doing all that and you're prone to high potassium levels, and then you'd eat 12 pounds of potatoes during your carb up, you can run in this, same thing. And then if you take a, potassium sparing diuretic, then you can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. And also in the same breath, one other little thing is you nailed it too, Justin, with food sources too. Being consistent is great, but also, like, let's say 4 to 2 weeks out from a show, somebody's a little hungry and they're adding more vegetables or just a little increment extra of vegetables. I myself, I use a lot of spinach. That's really high in potassium too. So if you're adding that all the time and then you start cutting it out 2 to 1 weeks into the show, you're producing a different look that the coach has to now work with. And you might not pick up on that because they didn't change their macros amount. They're just kind of changing a little bit of that extra food that's entered in,
That's a good
point. As a client, always never hide anything from your coach. Almost anything can be fixed and worked around, and almost nothing, even pretty close to a show, is like deal breaking if the coach knows about it and is able to make adjustments for it.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah.
I think it was Vigorous Steve who coached his wife. Her last show, she ate like an entire bag of trail mix or something crazy like that the night before her show.
Wow.
So yeah, we were talking about like the benefit of fat loading. Like, yeah, that was it. That was all she got to eat. Like, hope you enjoyed it because you get nothing else the rest of the day.
Yeah, trail mix will get you hard too. That's just like 700 calories a handful. Every time because that's like the two standards. Whenever I worked in corporate America, that the people trying to eat healthy or lose weight, they go through the lunch line and they get a bag of peanuts or a bag of trail mix. The two highest time, like, man, you could eat 3 Snickers for less calories. It's like what I saw a comedian, or I saw a joke somewhere about something about health food, and they're like, well, it's health food, so it tastes like banana and peanut butter, which cracked me up because that's all people. You go to any place and it's like, oh, here's our health food section, banana and peanut butter. It's
I always laugh at the granola bar, or granola as health food, and then people don't realize how calorically dense it is.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was basically made to keep people alive who had to travel distances and couldn't carry a ton of weight.
Yeah, he did a large amount of nutrients in a very small package. That's exactly what that is.
It's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you guys this. After my show last week, what I ate when I got home was just chicken breast tenders with, like, I'm not even kidding, about a third of a bottle of mustard. Talk about the seasonings thing. It's like it cut out all condiments on peak week. Yeah. I'm like, that's all. I literally was just standing there with the bottle, just squeezing it onto the chicken tender and just taking a bite.
Oh yeah.
Amy has chicken tenders. I go eat a whole pizza. We live different lives.
You were going hard. All of a sudden, mustard feels like a cheat.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's how you're deep in prep when mustard starts being a delicacy.
Oh, seriously, like, because I had no condiments for like the last 2 weeks, so like, oh man, like I'm just out to that bottle of mustard.
Oh yeah, you know why they call them electrolytes if you've gone through that. When that sodium hits your tongue and it's like a little sparkling, tingling little electricity.
It was amazing.
I was more confidence in this study if they they never do this, but they never like create a category or column for people who also use recreational drugs on a regular basis. I think that there is a significant amount of our cohort that does, and it's always overlooked in these studies. I mean, there's obvious biases in the thing anyway, but
you don't classify steroids as recreational drugs as well?
Well, I don't take them for fun.
I mean, a lot of them are fun.
Like my thought is kind of like what I think it was Kurt who mentioned it, like, stimulants, so the people take like recreational stimulants, like, I don't know, speed, cocaine, meth, whatever it is, on top of Clen, on top of Tren, on top of, I mean, your heart's going to explode at some point, right? I mean, wouldn't it? It's just added stress. You're adding stress to it, and you're not letting
Mike Mincer, the Mike Mincer pre-workout, meth, Deca, and espresso.
Yes, there you go. I mean,
metrics. You got to have the metrics drink too.
The hard, Hardbuster Express.
Yeah,
I was
Mr.
gonna-
wasn't on a heart safe protocol. No. He was on the list.
Speaking one kind of sidebar, we were talking about the condiments and prep and all that. What do you guys think of all of these modern like 0-calorie sauces like Mrs. Taste and stuff like that? What are your
I'm
thoughts
all
on that?
for it.
Because I have not done a
Franken
dive
food.
into that. Is that bad for you? Is that good for you?
Well,
Is it
define
irrelevant?
bad. If
Is
if it doesn't have calories, it's going to have no impact on like caloric body composition, body fat, muscle mass, glycogen storage. It'll have
Okay.
sodium and electrolytes, and it'll affect that. But no, I mean, but bad for you is a hard thing. I'm sure there's ingredients that aren't necessarily most conducive to the longest life possible. So I don't, if bad means long-term body composition in terms of muscle mass and body fat levels, no, it's not going to affect anything. But that's acutely, it can affect things before prep or before the stage, depending on where you're at on a diet. But
Check
for the
the
most part,
ingredients for digestive stuff.
That's the big one.
Yeah, I mean, they can definitely have an impact on the look if they're impacting the way that you're absorbing or digesting food. I mean, look at like konjac noodles. Yeah, they're basically calorie free. You can eat a whole big bowl of them. You may not gain fat from them, but you might gain weight from them because they're going to make you bloat. Like they're going to sit in your intestines. They're going to not digest well. And then add on
Volume,
to that, can you imagine what it would be like to eat those konjac noodles while also using GLP-1s? So like your digestion is slowed anyway. And then you have this huge bolus of undigestible fiber.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
is that going to affect your look?
Just
Yeah,
going
like that's
slowly
definitely
through your
going to affect your look.
yeah.
my dog ate a mop head the other day. I think he's going through that same thing right now. Actually,
Oh my gosh, that's going to be messy coming out.
The stuff that dogs will eat. Mine ate a sock a few weeks ago, and then I won't tell you the gross details of it, but one of the advantages of having a 200-pound dog is they can pass a sock through their intestine.
At least you
Evidently,
didn't have to pull it out.
oh, no, that's what happened.
yeah, dogs will eat they'll eat other dogs' shit. They'll eat their own shit. They'll eat dead animals. They'll lick anything just to see
It's
what
high
it
protein.
is. But I'll give my dog got one ibuprofen when he got neutered, and now he'll mash a hot dog to pieces on the threat that there might be a pill inside. He's got dog shit stained around his mouth from going in the backyard. But dogs are so
All right, we want to get some
dogs are-
questions. Steve is very impatient about questions, so we'll make sure we get to his last. Steve says, "Looks like you're not entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about the
So
trail
that's
mix conversation."
these
Here we
people
go.
are
This
not
isn't-
pleasing me in the way I like.
Well,
This
we'll
is
do
an
that
easy
one
one.
last. We'll do it
Yeah.
last. Steve
All
can
right, we'll
wait.
come back to.
Are you
we'll
sure
come
it was
back to
Masty, Steve?
I don't take complainers' questions first.
Mastery.
Well, let's start off
Okay.
with this one from Benny. He said, started lifting with straps about 2 months ago and his wrist hurt so bad when he first wake up, wondering if it's from using straps. And then he said after that, I'm thinking I should let it heal and leave the straps out. So what do you guys think? Are straps making his
Are you on
wrist hurt?
GH?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
That's valid. It's a valid question.
I'm a big fan
And
of
also,
straps.
what's the because if you're using straps, it's tension, so it's going to be where my it's going to be these tendons here are going to if you remove the strap, those tendons are going to take an extra load. If it's compression pain like benching, I mean that the straps aren't going to affect that. So really, it would depend on what type of pain and what's causing it.
Is there a relationship between grip strength though and using straps? And the reason I ask is so my middle child is a rock climber. So whenever he lifts, he avoids using straps because he wants to generate, grip strength, obviously. Is that a factor here? Because if he's lifting super heavy, but using straps,
You'll never be strong enough in double overhand movements to where grip won't eventually become the weak link in things like bent over rows, deadlifts, and it just the large muscles of the lumbar are just so much bigger than the muscles of the forearm that it's what your goal. If he wants to be a strongman competitor, he's either going to he's going to need strong grip and train his grip some way, but he's probably going to have to train it specifically. If he's an arm wrestler, he's going to need a strong grip and strong forearms, but he's going to train that specifically. If he's a bodybuilder, there's really very few places where a strong grip, other than if you're alone at night in the hotel room, that is beneficial. I mean, for real. So you kind of you have to think what your goals are, and we do that all the time. Is
Right.
guys will, they'll not want to use straps because they don't want their arm muscles to get weak when they're training back. It's like, but then you're not training back effectively. So you just, what are the goals? If the goal is to be an athlete and a rock climber, then don't drop the straps. If your goal is to build the biggest lats possible, then do whatever it takes to get that.
I'd be interested to know what Wade thinks about this.
Yeah.
For like the wrist or for the rock climbing?
For the wrist pain.
Using wrist straps and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm all for it, man. Because just like what Justin just said, it's just like the your wrist is going to give out before your lats do. So, and if you're,
I know I should use them. I never do. I never use wrist straps. I never really have.
Well, I mean,
but the type of wrist strap really makes a difference to me. Like the wraparound type, they do tend to cause a little bit more wrist pain. Like I actually have a pair of like VersaGrips.
Yeah,
and because it wraps all the way around the wrist, I feel like it disperses the weight more balanced. Like it more comes on the forearm versus like the hand and the wrist. Whereas like with a wraparound strap, I do feel sometimes like it's really pulling on my hand. But I don't get that same thing with the VersaGrip.
That's kind of
yeah. Disappearing.
They make them that small.
They're still not super tight, even on like the tightest, the Velcro all the way at the end. But for me, at least, that makes a difference. Like the type of strap might just be the fix. Tina, she's also a fan of the VersaGrips.
I like Versa.
Yeah, I love VersaGrips. Yeah.
I do think that there's a good use for straps for also teaching, in the sense of like sometimes I'm able to get a new person to use a strap, and that allows them now to, let's say on a pull down, learn to pull through the elbow rather than being all grip and heavier weight. Like, so that once they build that mental connection, using the strap might be beneficial to continue that connection, or they might get the trick and they say, okay, I can get rid of the strap and build a little bit of grip strength at the same time. But you know how it is, people row, they use their biceps until you throw a wrist strap on there and teach them how to do it properly. It could be a beneficial tool.
I feel assaulted again. Yeah. Dave just described my training.
Well, the reason why I brought it up to Wade, being a PT, is does it open us up for repetitive injury? Really, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it just, for like this guy with the wrist pain, I guess it just depends on like maybe his form might be off, his technique might be off, and he's just like bending it or twisting his wrist a little bit through heavy weight, and maybe it's causing like a strain or a sprain. So, but I don't know. I love VersaGrips though, man. Personally, yeah, all day.
The butcher hooks are great if you can get your hands on them. I don't know if you've ever heard of.
Are those hook ones?
They kind of are like a V, so they wrap around your wrist and then they come to a V. So
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, a lot of the strongmen use those.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, there's
just a little more.
There's a brand called.
Have you guys used the figure 8 straps at all?
Oh, I've seen those. I've never tried it though.
They're crazy because your fingers don't even have to be on the bar. But I didn't like it because they're so wide and there's so many. You end up with like twice as many pressure points on where it was on deadlifts. You'd be all excited and kind of fired up for your set. And I found I'd have to put at least as much emphasis into making sure my hands were even, because I think they were even, but where the strap would like kind of stretch out over my hand on each side, I'd be 3 inches off on one way or the other, and one side would be like 70 pounds heavier. I don't know how those those strongman guys were doing 1,100 pounds and stuff. They seem like I guess practice, you get better at it, but I always felt like it was difficult for me to get really evenly spaced because my hands would be, but the strap just had too many little, interaction points.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. All right, ready for the next one?
What do we got up next? Yep.
Next, we get this one from Dalton. How long would you guys recommend a hold phase at the end of a push before cutting back down to hold on to that newly acquired tissue? And then we actually had someone say same question, but in the opposite, how long after a cut? So coming in and going out, how long do you hold in between?
I like to do a 6 to 8 week kind of cruise hold phase post bulk phase. Kind of let things settle in, let blood work settle down before shifting into a contest prep or a cut. Post cut, I've kind of subscribed to Justin's philosophy now of, that's a time to put some size on. I leave some gear in place. I cut it down, I'll cut out all the toxic stuff, but push the food back up, get aggressive with the food, and try to put some size on.
I think I don't know if this guy is a new guy or young guy, but I'm that's who I'm speaking to. I think that the new people in the sport, like when I came up in the sport, it was there. It was only the magazine, so it was much harder to get information. But it was basically off season for 5-6 years until you decided to do your first show, and that's when you started you cut for the first time. I'm not saying that's optimal by any means, but it seems like guys are always looking for, when should I switch? When should I change course? And things take a long time to make progress in the sport. Adding muscle is a very slow process. Even burning fat at its fastest, you're looking at maybe 2 pounds a week consistently. So you should always be extending the timeline you do things. Really, when I see guys who talking like their third cut, and you ask them how long they've been training, and it's like 18 months, and it's like, how have you even made progress? You can't. There's no time. I like, but you can divide the year up pretty evenly, and it works perfectly all the way up basically until you turn pro. Because once you get to the national level and you're doing pro qualifiers, there's basically a season each year where you can do your shows. You do one long off season for like 16 to 20 weeks, then you cruise for 4 to 8 weeks, then you do a diet or a cut or a prep 12 to 16 weeks, then like a 4 to 6 week rebound post show period, another 4 to 8 week cruise, and repeat. And that basically gives you one off-season push each year, one diet to restore insulin sensitivity, get body fat down, and 2 cruises a year. And from everything I can find, that seems to put you about the maximum amount of time spent growing, the maximum amount of time spent getting healthy without negatively affecting your rate of growth. And then every year you diet down to a low body fat and reset everything.
Yep, that's exactly what I do.
Yep. That's what I'll be doing.
Awesome.
All right, next question.
All right, from Zionic. Justin, when do you think is the best time to bring in Suppressor Max during a push phase?
Right at the start. I mean, it improves insulin sensitivity. So it's not insulin. You take insulin and 30 minutes later it's doing something. This is improving the tissue's ability to accept the insulin. So you want it all the time, and most specifically right at the start. What I do, I just keep it simple. It's just a habit now. I have the Suppressor Max. I have like 6 of them laid around in the house wherever I usually eat meals. I take 1 capsule with every meal. It's technically the dose is 7 a day. I usually eat 6 meals, so I build up like 6 or 7 capsules over the week, and I just load those around workouts on high days.
And there's no reason why you wouldn't do that in a bolus, right? Like just take it all in the morning and.
You can, yeah. I mean, that's why we did the sodium cap rate. So if you can, I should post. Actually, if you go to troponensupplements.com and the Suppressor Max product page, there are some research articles at the bottom. I tried to post research articles as much as I could with our stuff that shows with berberine with sodium cap rate. If you go hour 4, our blood berberine levels are higher than berberine is alone at hour 2. So twice as long for the action. It's still acting stronger than it was half as long with the berberine. So it really is the only like true once a day berberine product, Suppressor Max. But for me, it's just so easy. Where's my bottle? Right over here, somewhere over here. They're just sitting right here. I grab one, take a pill when I eat, and I don't like taking, because I get reflux if I take 7 pills at once.
Justin, quick question for let's say a smaller woman, would you still recommend 7 caps a day, or would you actually kind of dose that down?
I probably would, but not for any reason other than I try to stick to the science, and typically the research I'll use is like a stock standard berberine level, and so that's kind of what we did. I don't know what happens when you drop that dose down into 75% or 50% of the research tested levels. So I don't want to tell women that, hey, you can take half as much and still get the benefit, because I don't have data to support that. I would suspect they don't need as much, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I've noticed with the berberine, I had to drop it, dude. It fucks my stomach up bad. Anybody else get that?
The berberine alone or berberine with sodium cap rate?
I've tried both, man. I just
berberine's harsh. That's partly why I like 1 capsule at a time. And
is it antimicrobial? Doesn't it have an effect on the?
It absolutely does. Yeah. And then that's why I caution people. I mean, unless you really need it, to continue to take just straight berberine for extended periods of time, is maybe not a great idea, especially for your gut health, especially if you're dealing with any type of gut dysfunction.
Yeah.
So the one with the sodium cap rate in it is gentler on the stomach.
Well, it's different because it is gentler, but it's got different issues because it increases the permeability at the small intestine. So there's other things have a higher permeability also. Generally, you want better absorption, but it doesn't guarantee only good effects, you know. So yeah, it should be milder on the stomach, but as far as like the total GI tract, it's better in some areas, but it's got other areas where it's doing things differently.
Okay. I was just curious because it just absolutely. I have a super sensitive stomach. My stomach is just doesn't. It's not happy half the time. But
I've heard the same thing from other clients. It seems to be one thing that messes some people up.
Yeah, especially that's partly why I don't do it all at once. It's really because of the reflux. But I can't take a bunch of pills at once anymore. But I would imagine taking a bunch of berberine at once is worse than taking small amounts spread out, you know, also.
Another one I see cause people problems is NAC.
Mhm.
NAC, if you keep on
really?
that for a while, it tends to fuck your stomach up.
I never even knew this because I've taken zinc off and on my whole life, but apparently a lot of people, if they take zinc on an empty stomach, get very nauseous. I just
Zinc
realized
will
that's the
burn
whole
me
thing, but yeah, does it?
Zinc is like battery acid for me. I don't
That's
know why that is.
interesting.
It's the one
Yeah,
supplement.
I never knew that. Yeah, I just started having clients that started complaining about it.
I didn't know about the NAC being like bad to take like for over like a long
Yeah,
period of time. What's up with that?
Yeah.
NAC, I didn't know that either, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
use the-
there's with NAC, I know it's I'm trying to remember. I went down this rabbit hole. It's right, it's cysteine stores right that fill up. And after a while, and like it doesn't, Kurt, you would know. And then after a while, it just becomes ineffective. And
Yeah.
I think it also has an antimicrobial effect on the gut as well.
I tell people to use it just when it's needed.
Oh.
It shouldn't be like a continuous. It should just be a prescription drug.
It's
Yeah.
a precursor to glutathione.
Yeah.
Well, we had to go through a bunch of additional approval processes. We almost couldn't put NAC in. I don't know if they've changed what they were doing with that, but when we were, you know, this is 4 years ago now, we went through a lot of hoops to get NAC, and it was the manufacturers were acting like it was going to be a prescription product. But I guess nothing ever came of that because
No, nothing ever came of that.
we don't have to do any additional stuff with it anymore.
I think during COVID they debated changing it.
So
it is one of the
NAC
supplements though that can definitely give people heartburn. I've found when I have someone who's struggling with like reflux or heartburn and they're taking NAC at night, I'll usually have them switch it to the morning if they are going to continue taking it, or just take it out and see if that fixes it. And it usually does.
So here's what I found.
It's called Mucomist. It used to be a medication. Now it's not as prescribed. But
Here's what I found on NAC. They said NAC contains sulfur, which can irritate the gut. So it irritates the stomach, stimulates acid production, produces gas, and disrupts gut motility. NAC also reduces mucus production.
Isn't it a
which can
bleeding
increase-
issue also? Can it affect bleeding long term? There's something with that, I think.
Yeah, so if you're prone to
So what's
acid
the correct
reflux, it's
application
the
of that?
reduced. So if you have increased acid reflux, if you have acid reflux, it can cause less mucus and increased stomach sensitivity, which I do, and more irritation from acid from food, like burning, discomfort, loose stools. It also
what
seems
is the
to
proper
increase the.
application then for NAC? Like, what are the correct scenarios where you would use it?
Kurt, what would you say?
It's used for Tylenol-induced liver failure.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
primary use for it, and it's given intravenously for 11 hours as an infusion. There's a chart based on weight. That's how it's designed to be used. I mean, as an oral supplement, it can use like anything. It stops mucus. It can be used for like sinus stuff. It can be used for. They claim it might have anti depression things going on. It might have. There's all sorts of purported health benefits from addiction, things like that. I don't know how true most of those things are, though. I mean, the primary function is to get the liver to heal itself quickly.
I mean, really, in those cases too. I mean, I think depending on the person, you could use some injectable glutathione and get there a
Yep.
lot quicker.
Better.
Yeah, but for somebody in the ER, it's always NAC. I've never seen glutathione used
Interesting.
in the ER.
And that's exactly, and that's what I mean. Like, so rather than, trying to do like tons of NAC, like why not just do some injectable glutathione for a short duration, really try and fix things more acutely and,
You can
not
get
be trying to
NAC
take
at Walmart.
You can. Yeah.
And componentsupplements.com.
You have your suppressor product, or not suppressor, but the QRF, I tell people to get all the time because it already has milk thistle in it. Those are the combo that guys run post show when their livers are muked.
I like
I am tough.
same. And that's another thing I said with the year long thing. The only time, in my opinion, the only time oral should be included would be in the cut, and then we use, we'll use our QRF after in the rebound to help get the liver back to full function.
We can't have a little A-bombs at the end of an off season for fun.
I mean, you can. I don't do what feels good. That's my motto.
I can't.
I've had a lot of success with just the injectable glutathione for a lot of different reasons. I think my labs have gotten better as far as my ALT and AST. I also feel like I have significant improvements in my immune system, my ability to fight off colds. If I get a cold that doesn't last for very long, and a lot of times they just miss me altogether when everybody else around me is getting sick. So I don't know. I'm an advocate for glutathione. I talk about it all the time. And I know that, a lot of these health clinics and stuff, when they are functional health clinics, they'll do like an IV drip of the glutathione and just do like a monthly treatment or something. I don't know about the effectiveness of that, but injectable glutathione is not hard to come by.
Yes.
All right.
All right, ready for some more questions?
Sure.
Okay. From Jonathan, wants to know our thoughts on PED use in endurance sports. So durations of 90 seconds to 20 minutes where body weight isn't punished and strength is a benefit.
Wait, strength and body weight and endurance? What endurance sport is being heavy and strong helpful? And that makes a very big difference in the answer, because
Maybe CrossFit.
Are we talking CrossFit or like rowing? Or are we talking ultra marathons? Because they're very, very, very different.
Yeah.
He's talking about 90 seconds to 20 minutes. So I'm assuming he's talking about some sort of sprinting
It's a big difference.
activity.
Is it
I mean,
strongman?
90 seconds to 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a tough range, but really, even for 90 seconds, you have to try running a 400-meter dash after Anadrol. You got to be. You do have to be. There's more. They do.
That sounds fun, actually.
That excess water volume, it is a motherfucker when you're trying to do anything with any cardiovascular endurance. And so,
Most of them
the biggest
stick
mistake you can ever be is adding androgens with a lot of water retention if you're trying to do anything endurance action. I mean, PEDs will help, but you're going purely for the strength component. The increased blood volume is just more issues your circulatory system has to deal with while you're trying to do this endurance. It's more compression around the joints. Go run sprints wearing knee sleeves and tell me how your calves feel. You're getting that to some extent anytime there's compression around the joints from water volume. So PEDs are really weird with endurance sports. Because what you'll find, like with MMA guys, they were using stuff. That's the whole TRT exemption stuff, but it was not bodybuilding stuff at all. It was low dose. It was getting their testosterone into kind of the high optimal normal range, keeping estrogen lower, but not low, so that their water retention tends to be low. EPO use, sometimes things like beta blocker use, depending on the situation and the beta blocker, because some of them would be really bad. But it's not like these guys aren't doing tren and D-ball for anything endurance related. So it's a question that needs a little more specifics, I think.
From what I recall, the old MMA stack that guys used to run in MMA all the time was test and EQ.
Yeah.
What guys like to run for MMA, I guess, for the increased red blood cell, hemoglobin and hematocrit. That will affect performance. Something that's going to keep you dry, not a lot of water retention. GH, a little bit of GH for recovery.
A good example of the wrong way of doing that, actually, it's old now, but it was big news for like a year when Brock Lesnar fought Shane Carwin, and all they did for like 6 months, I don't know if you follow MMA, all you could hear about was how big their hands were, their fists. It's so annoying. So for 6 months, they always talk about who had the bigger glove. But Shane Carwin, I think he got in the mindset he had to show Brock that he weighed right at the upper limit. So he weighed like 265, but you could tell they had been loading because he had edema in his ankles, lower legs. And he lost the fight. If you remember, it's an old fight, but he basically just like punched Lesnar in the face for the first round. And he was so exhausted and in adrenaline dump that he could barely come out for the second round.
But it probably
it was really, really closely correlated with that high water volume in his body. As soon as he came out with pitting edema, I knew what was going. It was either you got 3 minutes or that's it.
I can tell you from firsthand experience, I remember this distinctly. I was playing basketball. I played a lot of rec basketball when I was younger. I did rec leads, and I remember running some D-ball, and I remember going out and playing a basketball game after running D-ball. I made it up and down the court like 3 times, and my calves were so fucking pumped. I couldn't. I had to take myself out of the game. I'm like, I can't run. I'm like a cripple. They were like, they were like, did you pull your calf? Are you okay? Did you pull your hamstring? What's going on? It was from I've been like that too, like where you can't walk upstairs.
Yeah.
Sometimes
You walk like a pregnant woman. You got your hands on your lower back, wobbling.
I might be wrong about this, but this is probably a question for Kurt. Wasn't Primobolan originally developed for athletic performance? Isn't that one of the few human developed
I thought it was-
steroids there are?
I mean, I don't believe so. I think it was for anemia.
Yeah.
We
What
need to
if
get
we-
back to making
What the
drugs.
real
purely
reason was
for
why Squibb invented it, who knows, right? I mean, that the official use was for anemia or muscle wasting, right? But it
I
didn't
also-
really do a whole shitload. It didn't really do a whole shitload for muscle gain in animals or people, so it was never FDA approved.
Yeah,
It's one
I
of those
always thought-
weird drugs that doesn't do shit on its own. I know people love Primo, but on its own, it's pretty much a failure. You know, with test, sure, but they don't. Pharmaceutical companies don't look at it like that. And test was already on the market, so they couldn't just combine the two.
Gonzo, it sounds like your
I
audio's
always thought it
chopping
was
out,
that
by the
it-
way.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
There's like a delay. I think your internet.
Like I'm
connection-
watching an old karate movie. I will kill you.
I put it in chat.
Talking to somebody on the moon. All right. So from Gamboni Law, he wants to know, for those hosting or going to Thanksgiving, any thoughts on bringing healthier options to share? Do you tell them it's healthier or just have it blend in? Okay, can I rant on this, please? As a
Yes.
nutritional therapy practitioner?
Rant away.
This makes me insane when people think they need to tell someone they're eating healthy. Like, who cares? Like, food is healthy. Like, good food is good for you. Like, I don't care what is in your green bean casserole. If I'm bringing food, I'm not going to be like, oh, my food is more pious than your food because it's healthy. Like, absolutely not. Like, what I do when I go to a big event like that, where I might not be able to find healthy options, healthy in my mind, I bring something that I know I can eat, and I'm going to eat that. And I don't care if anybody else eats it. Like, I bring it to share. It's good, healthy, nutritious food. But if a brownie is what you want, like, there's nothing wrong with eating that brownie either. And to try and like moralize your food as being healthier than the other food that's there, oh, bad.
How will
call.
I know I'm better
Bad.
than all my family? If
Exactly. Do you do
In my
CrossFit? Are you vegan? Did you eat a stick of butter for breakfast, Justin?
I put it in my coffee. As one
In my experience, Amy comes stocked with cookies.
Yes, I do. And they are delicious and they're nutritious and they are not, like, you should eat them
you
because they're
want to be
made with love.
friends with a female competitor because they make the best food, in my
Oh,
experience.
heck yeah. Like, my food is incredible. And like, that's why I don't like going out for like a free meal, because it's going to be disappointing. It's
Let
not going to be as
down.
good as what I made.
I think
So
you'd be
no,
surprised,
definitely.
Justin. I'm pretty good with my prep food and my healthy foods.
I was gonna say that's what that's a meme. Like dads will spend 4 hours making the most bomb meal you ever ate, and then disappear for 6 months and never make another meal or something like that.
It's true.
That's me.
Yeah, my dad
Sorry,
made
did you guys
spaghetti
have
like
thoughts
3
on this that
times.
weren't
It's the
as-
greatest thing I ever ate, but that was it.
It's turkey and potatoes, man. I mean, how bad is Thanksgiving really? It's all the pie and cream sauce and stuff that if you just dodge that stuff and you're going to do just fine on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Well, I think if
It's
you're
one
bringing
meal.
if you're bringing like a healthy dessert, it might actually be fun to not tell them and watch people rave about it, and then you can tell them, hey, you won't believe how healthy this is, or share the recipe, and it might actually be a little bit more welcoming to them.
Yeah.
To
I usually just make a regular recipe, but tell people it's sugar free and fat free. And then eventually someone tries it and they think I'm amazing. I'm like an amazing cook. I'm like, oh, yeah,
You're
it's only
that guy,
3
Justin.
calories. The whole thing.
Great idea.
Or they're just being
That's
polite.
great.
Yeah. Can't throw up in the bathroom.
I don't know. I just tell people just eat something. I mean, whatever. It's one day. It's one
yeah,
meal.
At some point, you got to
Just
live
eat.
your life and spend time with your family. I mean,
I
at the
wouldn't say
end of it, we all have the same thought on our deathbed. You're going to think, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. So this is,
My God, I wish I didn't eat that sweet potato.
yeah, exactly.
Or that slice of pumpkin
Thanksgiving
pie with a giant
2025. I
pile
should not have had that. God damn.
My mom gets like personally offended when I don't eat her food when I'm on contest
Yeah,
prep.
moms and grandmas, you got to go hungry. If you're not hungry, you can get in trouble.
I remember I was on prep one time on my birthday and she baked me this big ass cake. She's like, "You got to eat some of it." I'm like, "Come on, I'm on prep. I told you this."
You have no
She's
idea
like-
how much I want to eat that right now, Mom. Trust me.
Desperately, I want to eat that.
Any other time I would.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it works out though. You go to a friend's house and they've got some, delicacy from their country that you don't want to eat, and you happen to have some chicken and rice with you. You're like, "Thank God."
That could be a strategy, actually. When I was in college and I didn't have money for beer, I would go to a party, and then when someone saw me without a beer, I would just say, "Oh, yeah, I'm not drinking tonight." And they'd be like, "Oh, fuck that, you're getting drunk with me." And I drink for free all night. It worked every
Nice.
time. You could probably pull the same thing at events. Be like, "No, I'm on a diet." And they're like, "No," and you just starting getting fed free food. I'm gonna try that.
Practical life advice.
Oh,
It's
sorry, I
just-
can't have it. I'm on a diet. Oh, fuck you
I
are.
just-
Have some brownies. All right, you talk me into it.
I just have the diabetes excuse. I just tell people I'm diabetic.
We'll take some Humalog and eat some cake, motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right. So this is not a question, just a PSA that we have said many times. Get your gear tested, people. There's been a shortage. John Jewett said it too. Even if you're a man, you should be getting your gear tested.
I didn't see his video. Did he show any results, or was it just like a PSA?
Did he even show results?
I don't know. I don't know if he did.
I'm just
I
curious.
saw
But I
that
know-
video. He said he sent stuff out. He didn't say he got
Yeah.
the results.
I
back.
am curious. I would like. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard. Enough of us know each other in the industry. If people started, collecting that data, so we could get some idea, like how much has quality been affected by the China stuff.
I
It'd be nice
have
to know.
seen a lot of Primo and Master on that's test prop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, out of nowhere, Primo seemed to become available again, which is usually, something doesn't seem right with that. I'm like, all right, I know your guy didn't have it, and now he does, but nothing changed in China that he should have it. So we might want to be careful with that.
Well, you go to the black or dark web site review sites, right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Where they review all the different black market sources, and they won't let you post negative test results
Yeah.
that speak against a vendor. I know because I'm dealing with this right now. It's like they're not I don't know how much they pay those guys to be on those forums, but they're not real interested in exposing anybody who might be distributing fake gear.
I lost faith in those and all that with British Dragon. If anyone remembers British Dragon, I think
Yeah, I remember that whole
2005
fiasco.
-ish. Yeah, and they were very obviously fake completely for a long period of time, and the boards covered for them and every board.
Yeah, but that was the early 2000s. I remember all that.
My next contest prep, I'm getting all my gear ahead of time and having everything tested and knowing it's legit. I'm not making that mistake again ever.
I had quite a few people on prep this year that had fake Master on.
So
I had one guy had Deca.
Yeah, that sucks.
Ooh, that's so.
Yeah,
What's
it
the
wasn't
swap
good.
out now that Mass and Primo are done? You just go to EQ and then
I mean, what else can you do?
Yeah, it's
AI.
about-
Basically.
Well, that was me. I don't mind you using my name.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about you, so maybe I had two then.
Yeah.
Are there any like semi-reliable like at-home tests, or is everything should be like shipped to like Janoschik or something?
Those at home tests, man. I can never fucking tell if it's brown or if it's red or
Yeah,
if
I
it's
know.
gray or it's
Oh,
purple.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Plus, they
They're
don't
just
tell you the
warning you.
dosing like you could have.
Yeah,
It just tests
true.
for presence of a drug. It
That's
could be
true.
20 milligrams of Primo,
Mhm.
or it could be
Well,
contaminated with
Janoschik was
something
pretty
else
easy.
and it might actually be Primo. I've seen that too.
Yeah, you're just not getting those deep results you're looking for, with the
Yeah.
at-home test. You're getting a green light or a red light kind of response, and that's not painting the whole picture of what you're putting in
That
yourself.
interview that Scott
Good point.
McNally had with Peter Pekic, is that his name? The guy from Janoschik. It was pretty interesting. They don't. It was cool how they do blind testing. He doesn't want people to tell them what it is. And so he doesn't know what it's supposed to be. He just tells you what the results are.
Hmm.
So they do blind testing to keep some
Nice.
integrity.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So he said, I will say, because he was asking if there was a lot of fake primo this year, and he's like, what I can tell you is I've seen a lot of mass prop. He goes, I don't know if it was supposed to be primo or not. He also said that a lot of the UGL sent him raws, and he saw a lot of raws that were incorrect, that were test prop as well.
Damn.
There's a lot of room for, because when you get when the UGLs get a bag of test prop, it doesn't say test prop. It'll say like creatine. They're all not labeled correctly from China, and then hopefully there's some kind of encoding system where they know that if you got creatine, it's really this, and there's just so many levels to get it messed up. If you're a high level athlete and you can find available testing at the way things are right now, you should.
I speculate that some of the guys that came in underweight at the Olympia this year, there were a few guys that were a lot smaller, that there may have been some
Interesting.
I wonder.
Are you talking about someone who, because some of those guys are not small after the Olympia? If I don't know if we're talking about the same people or not, but
possibly. All right, what do we got up next?
All right, we've made it to Steven's question.
All right, Steven, you were put in the corner and told you're a bad boy.
Put him in timeout.
We've taken you out of timeout now. I don't know if he's still listening or not. I didn't see him in the comment section, so your question will be answered now.
You want to answer it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll ask it. How long does MASD stay in your system after finishing a cycle? Go, Kurt.
Most likely 4 to 5 weeks. So the ester itself doesn't always dictate how long it stays in the body. The parent chemical also has something, and so does the metabolism of the drug. So like test E will be detectable for 3 months, where Primo E is detectable for like 4 weeks. So Mastron E, based on its structure, is probably 4 to 5 weeks in the body.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
All right.
You can do
it's active for 4 to 5 weeks. That means it's gone that many, until it's fully gone.
There's half-life calculators on the internet too. Just Google half-life calculator. It'll only be the
based on the ester though.
Yeah.
Probably not accurate.
Yeah.
All right. We won't linger on that one too long.
That's Paul, like the guy busting our balls the other day on Instagram about
oh yeah, I don't want to mention any names. Yeah.
Well, but it was like cite studies. So understanding chemistry isn't looking at PubMed, right? Like you go to school and you take classes so you can understand to look at something. It's not about like Googling shit on PubMed and figuring out where the answer is. The answer is not there, right? So
yeah, it's sort of like
probably shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house.
Well, and then reading research studies is really kind of an art, and it's an easy art to be wrong on, because if you post something and quote a research study and even include the link to the study, 0.1% of people reading that comment are going to actually read that study. So you can get away, but I think I see a lot of people misinterpret the minutia of studies, because they're written like the medical. It's like legalese, only medically, and it's worded weirdly. And if you're not used to reading research, you look at it, you scroll down, look at a graph, and go to conclusions, and then go to Instagram, and you're probably going to say wrong things.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can even effectively read a study without having taken a college level statistics class.
You couldn't. Yeah. When also and the studies from a long time ago, which involves most steroids, they were even worse than the ones today. They're all
terrible.
Organic chemistry. Like there's ones about NPP versus DECA from the 60s when the FDA pulled NPP off the market. Average person can't even read that study.
Yeah. And graphs, people will post a logarithmic graph and talk about it like it's a non-logarithmic or an exponential graph or a normalized graph, and not understand why something only reaches a max of 1.00.
Yeah. Well, I think it was Lane Norton who once said that you can take the data from any study and beat it into submission. Because you really can. You can massage that data to be anything you want it to be.
I went on about this the other day, and I talked about it earlier, but the lot of the problem is people get on ChatGPT with the confirmation bias. You can get ChatGPT to agree with anything that you're saying.
Isn't that a big problem with the LLMs right now? Is that people are really realizing that, and basically, well, there's a whole world of like AI psychosis of people who think, because the ChatGPT has just learned that what the person wants to hear, basically.
I listened to this podcast the other day about this dude who thought that he had solved a unifying theory of physics because of conversation with ChatGPT,
I
and was
think that's what I'm talking about. I think I saw
wow.
that too. Yeah.
I mean, he like basically like lost his job and thought he had come up with limitless energy, and was just like completely in a complete AI induced psychosis because of it confirming his, telling him he was great and confirming his ideas and saying that you should keep exploring those.
Yeah.
Like most things, they're a lot more. ChatGPT is a lot more dangerous in the hands of the simple.
Well, I mean, I think if you're prone to mental illness, and it's just like social media, like those of us that have some popularity on social media, I mean, we see it.
Yeah.
Firsthand.
ChatGPT is basically like the most intelligent thing you'll ever meet, who wants to tell you what you want to hear. Imagine your Albert Einstein's your buddy, and all he wants to do is make and tell you what you want to hear. You're gonna
This is
think
hilarious.
yeah.
Benny says ChatGPT agrees with me when I tell it it's wrong.
Yes, you're correct. Good observation. I'm very sorry for getting that incorrect.
I think it has to be something in the way that they built the system to be positive and to be affirming. I would assume it's probably.
Well, don't forget the end goal. I mean, OpenAI is what they're more than $100 billion private valuation right now. Very, very, very few $100 billion private companies, and so every single aspect of ChatGPT has been optimized to keep users using it, and not to give you truthful answers. I mean, it had, it's not designed to give you wrong answers, but it's designed to keep you there, and its maximal, a total addressable market for what it can eventually be economically is how many people it can get on the site and how much time can be spent on there. And so just remember that when you're on there, it's got hundreds of billions of dollars into work to keep you there.
Yeah, it's only going to.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's only going to escalate too.
Mhm.
Once they figure out how to advertise the product, and keep you on there longer.
At Troponin IQ, we took a different approach. We disagree with everything you say, tell you how stupid you are, and tell you to get off. We try to get you off the site as quickly as possible. It's a new model. It's a new business model.
Curmudgeon AI.
Yeah.
I want the brutally honest AI. You can massage answers out. You can massage answers out of it. It's all how you interact with it, but it seems to be like the default stance is to be affirming and positive. And it wasn't just this guy that Kurt and I were dealing with the other day. I've had multiple people reach out to me that were convinced that they were right about something because of conversations with ChatGPT. I mean, they send me they send me the cut and paste, including the emojis. I'm like, bro, that's like fucking that. That doesn't mean you understand the underlying mechanisms behind it. Like you have to be intelligent enough to know that you don't understand I used to deal with it all the time in IT. I would spend 20 years in information security consulting and have a degree in it. And I would get people that would do a Google search and think they know more than me. It's just fucking bizarre how people can do a Google search and think they know more than a PhD or somebody with decades of experience at something.
It's like jiu-jitsu takes 5,000 hours to get a black belt, but you can get your black belt in Google Fu in under an hour.
Yeah. I've mentioned this before, but like in medicine, it's becoming, and I'm sure Josh is running into this too. I mean, it is mind boggling to me. Someone will say like, well, ChatGPT said this doesn't look good. I'm like, well, it looks totally normal.
Yeah.
And
That
that's
is a bone sticking out of your arm. I don't care what ChatGPT says. It's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm getting the same thing on coaching end. I'll have, say I make an adjustment, but the client wants maybe possibly something different. They'll figure it out on ChatGPT, send it to me, and think that's going to convince me to make a change. And then it's usually wrong. Like I've had them say, aren't I supposed to take X amount in milligram or whatever? And we're actually talking micrograms. And then it's just like the ChatGPT messed that up. You have to say, hey, you just made my dose times 1,000. You made a mistake. And then ChatGPT will agree. Say, yeah, I did.
Have you ever had it hallucinate before? Like I asked it, I was doing some research on SERMs, and it gave me back some information that was completely incorrect. Like I'm like, I know this is incorrect. And I asked it, I'm like, where, it said that it got this information from a study. And then I pressed it a little bit more. And I'm like, what study did you get this from? can you send me a link? And then it's like, well, actually, I can't provide a link. This might have been an AI-induced hallucination.
Well, yeah,
I'm sorry that I gave.
I can tell you how that happens, really. At least with Troponin IQ, there's two memories. There's core memory, which is your settings, and that's how it knows you. And that's why we say we want you to put as much information in there as possible. The more it knows there, the more it knows you. But in each chat, there's localized memory that's chat specific. And you can utilize that because then you can guide the AI. It knows this about you. It has this new information. So you can build theoretical versions of yourself and say, but what happens is it's got this core memory, and then it's got its core original LLM memory from all its original training. And it's correlating that with what it knows about you from the core memory, combined with all the stuff from a new chat. And if that chat starts getting long, it can have, you think about bodybuilding, and it knows it. So Troponin IQ will know the base ideas of protein from the internet, and it'll know all of my thoughts on protein, and it'll know everything about you related to protein from the settings. Well, if you spent the last 90 minutes talking about protein metabolism and different diets and carb cycle and carnivore and all those things now are all one big memory block of you, and it can that's where it basically turns into schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Typically, start a new chat. Well, with us, anyways, starting a new chat will bring you back to baseline and start over with just core memory.
Yeah, I just, it's bizarre. It's still bizarre to me that somebody can do a ChatGPT search and think that they're smarter than somebody who has an actual PhD. That was the oddest fucking thing I've ever.
You want to know what's shocking? That we're talking about this.
PhD?
We taught a rock to think. Silicon. I mean,
Silicon.
We're talking to a rock, and we're mad that it's hallucinating.
That's one advantage to like Grok and a Perplexity that I'm finding is that they give citations like in their answer, often anyway, or ChatGPT does not. So,
well, you can use different ChatGPT.
I like Grok. I think probably the best for answers, but I feel like ChatGPT is much better built for use. It seems much more ease of flow, and it feels like you can tell it was designed by an evil mastermind, basically, because it feels like it was designed solely to get you on there as much as possible, whether it's tricking you to be on there or not, where it feels like Grok is actually trying to give you correct answers. I haven't used Perplexity really much, or Gemini.
I don't like Gemini.
when I really want to know, I ask all three, Perplexity, Grok, and ChatGPT when I'm doing research, and I try to correlate whatever answers and stuff. And yeah, I'm researching my weight loss ebook right now, so I'm kind of like, I'm way deep in using these things at the moment.
JAMA has an AI of their own now. It's called Open Evidence. It's really good. I think you have to be a practitioner or know somebody to get access to it. But yeah, Open Evidence. Now, once again, it's limited to its database of articles and research, and it's still, I guess, contextual. But at least it's pulling from the full research. I've got it up right now. I've been using it more lately. New England Journal of Medicine, JAMA, the National Comprehensive Network, and the Mayo Clinic. It's all their combined database of information it pulls from. So it's more, if you're looking for medically sound stuff, it's the better platform if you're doing medical research.
What kind of large language models are they using in drug research now, Kurt?
Well, I only look at like the stuff that we're doing with molecules, so I don't know what they're using when it comes to other stuff. When they
probably have their own custom design shit, I would imagine.
Like you have modeling that you can like model the androgen receptor and see how a molecule will interact with it, versus like traditionally you would look at the structure and you can guess what shape it would form and how it would stick. But actually when you model it, sometimes that's not correct. Like we found that with Masteron, that it looks like it would bind more firmly to the androgen receptor than Primabomb, but in reality it actually deforms and it doesn't actually seem to dock correctly.
That's interesting. Yeah, I know AI is being strongly used in some of the. I'd heard that it was used in the development of retatrutide and some of the new peptides and stuff that are coming out.
There'll be almost nothing not developed without at least in conjunction with its use. I mean, soon by 2030.
I think we're pretty close to there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I feel like I don't think any of us are prepared for what AI is going to do. I think it's going to be exponentially more dramatic of a shift than the internet was. I'd be very surprised if 90% of humans are even able to have jobs in 50 years. There'd be no reason to. There'll be an AI brained robot that's smarter than you, doesn't get tired, doesn't make mistakes, works 24 hours a day, works twice as fast, and doesn't require pay. You know,
I saw a thing where somebody was, it was an advertisement for learning a trade, and that was an AI proof field, and then right below it was this was on Twitter, right? Just ironically, right below it was a video of Optimus running a jackhammer.
Yeah, I'm gonna say AI delayed. Computers are always better. It's just like if you're into cars or engines or drag racing, guys were really against automatic transmissions because no computer's going to shift better than me. You're not going to find many guys. Certainly not like a standard shift model. You might get a dual clutch manual guy who's just slamming backwards and forwards. But the computers do everything better than us. They just do. Tesla's, what was their one Dojo chip that I think ended up not even going into full production, and that was like 10 to the 16 processes per second. Like the compute was like, and it was, by the time they were ready to produce it, it was already not even like
already obsolete.
Yeah, 10 to the 16. There's 10 to the 40 protons in the universe. 10 to the 16 calculations a second. I mean, what computers? None of us will do 10 to the 16 calculations in our lifetime in our brain.
Well, the way I understand it, the limitation is not in the computing power of the chipsets anymore. It's in the ability to power them.
Energy, always, yeah. Energy is going to be the limiting thing. Did anyone watch Age of Disclosure? Really, it's like $20, but it's a really good documentary. But that'll be if whatever the movie basically has people in the government, including Marco Rubio, saying that UAPs are real. We don't know what they are. We don't know. We don't think they're human. We don't think they're from Earth. We have no idea though. But we know that basically the way we believe they move requires a power level and energy level so much more dramatic than what we currently are able to do, that the second that technology is discovered, it's like just a pivot point for humanity, because that's what limits us for everything is energy. That's the reason you can't. How fast you travel is always dictated by energy. The reason anything with matter cannot travel mass cannot travel the speed of light is because it takes an infinite amount of energy because of that mass. The limitation to basically everything you would ever want to do at the end of the day is energy, and energy is the one true conserved thing in the universe. There's some amount of energy in the universe. It's conserved, and so anytime a process happens, there's some energy at the start, some energy at the end, and they're the same. If they're different, that energy is lost, and now it has to be accounted for somewhere else, and that's why calories in versus calories out is true. But that's our limiting factor. And so, yeah, if we develop some like cold fusion or some massive energy production thing at the same time that AI and robotics becomes emergent, I mean, it's going to be like, it'd be like up until that moment, we've just blinked and then we open our eyes. Everything's going to be different. It's silly to even talk about trade jobs because who knows what a job even is going to be after that.
Wow.
Well, what did I say? We've accumulated more information in the last decade than we have the entire history of humanity.
Yeah. Well, the average employee is 70% more productive due mostly to computers than they were 50 years ago. Yeah. 70%, that's dramatic. I mean, that's a big increase. A AI robot is 70. It will be the fact, like the idea of it only being 70% more effective than a human is laughable. It'll be 7,000% more efficient than a human. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple decades.
I saw a thing on the news this morning about how economists are confused because job growth is down, but GDP and productivity are up. And I'm like, I can tell you what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Imagine an incredibly productive workforce creating iPhones and new technology and all these things, just pumping them out so fast, and they don't even take a salary, so they're produced so cheaply. No, all these amazing technologies are practically free. You're buying an iPhone for $2. There's going to be so much abundance. There's going to be so much abundance, and then either we will like end our species because we're idiots, or there'll be a case where there'll be a few hyper wealthy people, like the kind of wealth where they're like, if we have the energy levels we're talking about, they're traveling interstellar just for fun, for vacations. But most of us are going to be wealthy without jobs. There's going to be so much wealth produced by these robots that don't require pay. There's going to be so much excess capital and production that there'll be some type of universal income, but we'll all be miserable. We won't have to work. We'll be able to buy most things we want, and we'll still bitch that Elon Musk has even more money than us.
Uncle Elon's been running around telling everybody that's going to be the future now, is that we're all just going to be universally wealthy, is what he says.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, depending on what you consider wealth, but we're all universally wealthy to a 14th century peasant right now. So you look at it that way. But I mean, just you picture you got some kid making an iPhone by hand right now. You're gonna have a robot making 10 iPhones in the time it takes that kid to make one iPhone at the start, and in 10 years, going to be making 100 iPhones in the time it takes that kid to make one iPhone. And that robot doesn't need to sleep, doesn't get tired, doesn't pee, doesn't eat, doesn't require a salary.
Well, you barely have to feed a Chinese.
Yeah, good point. I don't think you have to pay him either.
That's a place for nets, right?
This is why I'm just focused on being a gym bro. Fuck everything else. I'm living my life.
You'll have to talk this stuff with my wife, Jackie, Justin. She is obsessed with it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be, because it's, like the inevitable is inevitable. I just want to try to be prepared to ride the wave of it, but it's an interesting time for sure.
Well, you sold me no work and I'm rich. Sounds great.
Yeah, I think, but we'll be miserable. I mean, we will.
That sounds great to me. That sounds terrible.
Humans aren't built for. If you think like what evolutionarily, what we're still wired for is we wake up and are hungry. We find food.
Chasing the carrot. We want the hunt.
I found eggs. This is the best day ever. Oh no, the rain's coming in. I'm cold. You find shelter. Oh, it's the best day of my life. I got a nice warm place to sleep. That's how we're wired. That immediate dopamine. I didn't die. This is the best day ever. I got a full stomach. This is the best day ever. We have none of that now, and look how miserable we are.
Yeah, we need adversity.
Most of us have is our family and our career.
Yeah.
So you take all that away, there's no reason to be alive. You wake up every morning, your food's there, you're warm, you have shelter, you don't have to pay for it. It just a check comes in the mail. It's not even a check, it's just digitally implanted in your armband or something. And then you don't have to go to work all day. You sit. It's like I always think with celebrities, like a celebrity will post about, and there's something sad or whatever, and people, all the comments would be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you woke up in your $20 million house all alone." And it's like, yeah, they did. Imagine every single day you wake up, you're not on a movie set, you're not filming, you don't have nothing. Sounds great, and for a couple of days or weeks, it probably is, but you wake up every single day in a big ass home, no one else is there. What do? Turn on the TV, order DoorDash. You got nothing to do that day. No job to go to. You have no purpose. Yeah, you're isolated. Your friend, who knows who your friends are? They're probably an hour and a half drive somewhere in California. So you wake up, you turn on the TV, and people our brains aren't wired for that. So we're all gonna wake up depressed, look at our e-signature that tells us how many digital points we have, and maybe go on Amazon and buy a new phone or something. But we'll be miserable.
Yeah.
Think about our cohort, though. I mean, we're actually going to be able to do nothing but eat, fucking train, and get paid.
Yeah, some of us will be happy.
I just want to digitally implant my trend. That's it.
No, when you take away the humans want for innovation, I mean, that's also a big part of why we're so successful. So when we got no thirst or drive for innovation and problems are being solved and we're no longer the problem solver and we figure that out, then everyone's going to feel very hopeless.
It's going to be Wall-E.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the even worse is the way they're going to present it is they're going to say, like, now the next Mozart doesn't have to go wait tables. They can become the next Mozart. But the truth of the matter is, if you're the next Mozart, you're the next Mozart. If Mozart was a waiter, he was still Mozart. It's going to happen. Like those people make through, and that's part of why they break through, because they have to be so extremely, gifted beyond the normal person that it has to break through like that. Your waitress at lunch today isn't Mozart. And
but Mozart, like any artist, requires a human experience to interpret that into their art. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I think people are missing in the whole AI discussion is that, we're still a planet inhabited by humans. There's still some sort of inflection of the human experience has to happen in all creation of art or innovation, and that's never going to be eliminated. The world's going to change. It's going to change radically.
It's not going to be eliminated. How long until there is no human thought? We all use ChatGPT. We were just talking about Paul and Kurt, that guy that was using ChatGPT. All his information came from ChatGPT. All his information came from an AI. So now his knowledge of all that stuff is some mix of what was originally human thought that the AI took and interpreted and put it out to him. Well, then, you know, how many generations of that before there's almost no original human thought anymore.
That guy's no
Generation after
Mozart or
generation of
Elon
AI
Musk
thought
either,
to
right?
AI thought.
Just one.
Sorry, Mike.
No, so that guy's no Mozart or Elon Musk for that matter. You know, he's not a genius. He doesn't need that human interpretation that we were just talking about.
Yeah, and right now their thoughts are ChatGPT, which is still human thought originally, but it doesn't take it's not very hard to think, you know, like, so they're learning human thought taught by AI. So they were taught by AI. The next level is getting AI information from an AI that was from human. The next one is AI human. We're not very far before like the original human thought is a long forgotten past thing.
Mhm.
Well, you've seen Idiocracy.
Gattaca.
Otto's got what plants need.
Yeah.
Electrolytes.
Age of Disclosure, though, I'd recommend. It was interesting. It wasn't like it was UFO type stuff, all videos you've probably seen on the internet, but it was interesting seeing, you know, like just people in the government discuss it and basically say like, yeah, we don't have no idea what's going on. Something's weird.
All right, folks, I need to wrap this up.
Before you go, we have one, and there's so you guys ask these questions again, and like the sooner we start, when you ask them at the beginning, they'll be higher up. But this one from Cody, he's getting over heartbreak, and Cody, I'm going to give you the piece of advice that gets over any heartbreak. Is the best way to get over a man is to get under a new one. And I think the same thing for a woman.
You're not going to have motivation, but I can tell time passes no matter what. And in 2 years, it's going to be 2 years, and you can be fat and miserable and still, you know, upset and heartbroken about this. Or your feelings aren't going to change, but they're going to be much easier to manage when you're not able to sit and dwell on them. Get to the gym. You know, you're not going to get motivated or focused. You just have to get disciplined and find a way through it. But time's going to pass either way, and in 2 years, you're gonna wish you handled the heartbreak the way you want to handle it right now and not the other way around. And as much as it sucks, and this might be like a sexist thing to say, but no one cares that you're upset. It's they don't. Your friends might, but the people around you, even
No, they don't care either. No.
They don't. No, they don't. And so, yeah, that's the cold, hard truth. And so now you can accept that and start making your life better. And in 2 years, be proud of what you disciplined yourself through, or you can let it eat at you. And either way, in 2 years, you're going to be 2 years older.
Work on yourself. Read meditations. Go to the gym every day. Your next ex-girlfriend's already there training. So
yeah,
Right.
wrap
Be the
yourself
man she
close to
doesn't want
yourself.
with more muscles.
Just get
I can-
self-absorbed for a little bit. Do like improve yourself. Like Mike said, read
Yeah.
things. Go to the gym. Just pick some weird ass goal to focus on. Something to put your mind in to focus on something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
my
you
weird
dive
ass
into
goal was-
self-improvement, set a goal, dive into self-improvement and follow that goal. And that will keep you focused and understand also like it's part of a process. You know, there's gonna be the denial, the negotiation, the acceptance, and then eventually, you internalize it, your soul scars, I guess, for lack of a better term, and you move on. You know, it's
Add an
part of the
arms day.
process.
And don't break down in front of whoever your heart breaks with. There's no case where you're ever gonna
There's no coming
look
back
back
from
on that
that.
and be happy you did it. No case.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, and don't try and find figure it out. Like let go of trying to figure it out and just move on. Like that's as harsh as that sounds, like you're never gonna find the why or the reason that makes sense in the moment. You might find it in 2 years, but you're not gonna find it now. So don't even bother looking for it. Just put it in its little box and just move on. And someday you might open that box again, but you should not be digging in it right now.
Yeah, go
And
find a way
definitely
to
stay busy.
make some money. In the words of the rapper Nas, you lose money chasing women, you never lose women chasing money. So go get success.
That is some great
we're
wisdom.
making rap
Drop the mic,
references.
Dave.
Biggie Smalls. Let bitches get money.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
I can tell you from firsthand experience. I went through a miserable divorce, and I just threw myself into the gym, took all my anger out there, and my goal was to do a bodybuilding show and show the world what was up. That's what I did.
Yeah, but you produced the result from a bad moment in your
Yep.
life, so without that, where would you be? You
Yeah,
know,
strong.
Yeah, I
you
threw
have
myself
strong
into
emotions. Strong emotions are strong emotions. Good, bad, ugly. Strong emotions are strong emotions, and they can produce strong output. So try to channel that the right way. Don't let it channel. Don't channel it into something that let a dark place.
yeah, self-sabotage or
Cody,
something.
DM me
Yeah.
and I'll send you a reading list.
There
Be
you go.
constructive, not destructive. Be constructive, not destructive.
I
That
threw
would be my
myself
What's
into
your
work and
Instagram micro
bodybuilding.
project?
Hire a coach and up your training.
Anything.
There you go.
The answer is more training volume.
Yes.
You stay in the
Yes.
gym long
Trend.
enough, you'll forget about it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew
Up the
Josh
trend,
would
up the
say
trend.
that.
and you'll find a new girl, a better one.
It's hard to think about your girl when you're failing on a squat.
The
All
right
right,
ones
folks,
out
I need to
there.
wrap this up. I gotta get to my day. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to us today. We covered every topic you could possibly imagine. We'll see you on the next episode next week, guys. Take care.